So the first thing we have to do in order to bleed the system is to actually get some brake fluid in there. Your mileage may vary. I'm only using this. This was expensive. This was like £7.50 for 500ml. You can go to other places and pick it up. Oh, it's windy. Pick it up for a lot less. The only reason I've got this is because I bought it. Well, somebody bought it for me by accident. Because I was like, "How much did you pay for this? £7.50?" But I never got around to taking it back. Otherwise, I would have done. So there's two steps to bleeding your system. One is getting the brake fluid in, just making sure there's nothing floating about in there, and then you need to charge it and get all the air bubbles out. So chances are there's going to be air in the pipe because it wasn't connected to the caliper. So let's see if we zoom out. So the first thing I'm going to do is just pump the brake lever a couple of times. Actually, let me see. I'm going to take you off here. Oh, because you need to see this. To see the bubbles. Who doesn't like bubbles? Okay. So as I pump the thing, you can see the bubbles coming up. So while you have bubbles coming in there, there's air in the system. And also, this is, oh, I'll get my focus done. This is, you know, I can do that one finger and it goes all the way in, or even past all the way in. So if your brake responds like that, then your brakes aren't working. There's obviously no air in there. So the second part of the system is your bleed nipple, which is this one here. It's a bit dark down here. I'm going to sort of light out that. See, my finger is that one. So there's a little rubber bit which you can just take that off, put that somewhere safe, don't lose it. And then you've got your brake nipple, which needs I think it's about 6mm spanner. It's a small spanner that you got to put on there. Just getting ready to bleed the brakes now. So if I can just see. So what we're looking for is, let's see if this is going to bubble. Yeah, there we go. So when I pull in the brake lever, you got bubbles of air inside the system, and what we need to do is get those out. So you go, at the minute it's an open system because the top's off. So the air can escape. If I sealed all that up, the air would stay in there and the brakes would never work. So there's two things I'm going to do. One is I'm going to be pumping this to get to basically put pressure in, and then I'm also going to. There's plenty of light down here. I thought it was going to be darker than that. This is an 8mm spanner. So what we do is, with one hand on the brake lever, I'll pull the brake in, and then I'm going to open this, just undo it a little bit, and that's going to be connected to our really high-tech brake bleeding kit, which is basically a pipe that goes onto there. Goes onto the bleed nipple, and goes into some brake fluid in there. So it essentially maintains the closed bit. But I'm going to get all the air out first. So that's what we're going to do, and then we're going to bleed it down into there. One thing I got to make sure that I don't do while I'm doing this is the level can't go down to that point, otherwise all I'll be doing is pumping more air in. But this, you know, it sounds like it's a real pain in the ass, but it shouldn't actually take that long. I'm going to put the camera on tripod while I do this, because it can, you know, and I'll fast forward it then. So give me a minute while I set that up, and then we'll do some jiggery pokery and video editing magic. So when we're at the stage where the bleeding is starting to work, you'll get less bubbles coming out of there, and less coming out of the bottom, down the bottom, down through the bleed nipple. So what I'm doing now, as you can see, before there I'd be able to pull this with no resistance at all the way back to here. Getting resistance about there. You can still pull it, but the resistance begins about there. So there's still air in the system, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to pull it all the way back. So giving it a couple of pumps now, and what that does is it produces pressure in the system, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to release that pressure off down the bottom. So I'm just going to have to